Good evening and welcome to the Blueprint Explosive Exclusive. I'm Madhavdas G. Viewers, we have some big breaking news. This is news of a global nuclear espionage ring that has been busted with the arrest of two brothers who allegedly posed as BARC scientists and tried to obtain sensitive information on behalf of Pakistan's ISI. Now, Delhi Police's anti-terror unit has arrested a man named Adil Hussaini, beg your pardon, who has allegedly tried to connect with a BARC employee. He was arrested from Simapuri area of Delhi after agencies found his connections with ISI handlers, I beg your pardon. His arrest has come around a week after his brother, Akhtar Hussaini, was arrested from Mumbai. Akhtar faces grave allegations of identity fraud and espionage. Investigators discovered that he possessed multiple forged documents, including counterfeit Baba Atomic Research Center or BARC identity cards, Aadhaar cards and PAN cards, fake passports and even forged driving licenses. By masquerading as a BARC scientist, he allegedly attempted to sell sensitive and potentially classified documents to foreign nationals. So let's take a look at what really has happened as far as this entire case is concerned. So far, 3 people have been arrested in this case. Now, this includes Adil Hussaini, who's posed as a BARC scientist. There's also Akhtar Hussaini, who's posed as a BARC scientist, is the allegation, and Monazir Khan, who's a cyber cafe owner who allegedly helped them to procure these forged documents. Let's take a look at what the investigation has so far revealed. Multiple forged documents that have been recovered. Counterfeit Baba Atomic Research Center identity cards that have been found. Fake passports. Forged driving license that have been recovered. 14 maps and nuclear blueprints that have been found at the residence of Akhtar. They also allegedly tried to sell such sensitive information, including these documents, to foreign nationals, is what we're given to understand. Passports under aliases of Alexander Palmer and Ali Hussain that have been found. Cops suspect that these forged documents were used to travel abroad. Cops also suspect that foreign trips were related for espionage-related purposes. Now, time's now reached the Mumbai residence of Akhtar in Warsaw, from where he was apprehended on October 18th. We spoke with the security guard of the building and Akhtar's neighbors, and here's what they told us.
In a starting revelation, the Mumbai Police Crime Branch officials have unearthed one individual who was posing as a BARC scientist named as Akhtar. Now, we have reached to the residence of this particular individual, which is situated in Mumbai's Yari Road area, which is in Warsaw. Now, you can see the door is currently locked. As per officials, they had reached out into the premises after some very sensitive information was given out to them by the NIA as well as the intelligence bureau. Now, during their raid and search operation, the officials have taken in custody around 14 highly sensitive maps and structures of designs of nuclear bomb designs, which they feel is a very sensitive issue, and which is why this individual is currently apprehended from this spot. We have reached to the residence of Ahmed, who has been apprehended by the Mumbai Police Crime Branch, and the security guard of this premises is with us to share some information. दादा ये बताइए जो अहमद नाम का शख्स है वो इसी इमारत में रहता था?
जी सर, पहले माले पे आई भी।
क्या वो अकेले रहते थे या परिवार के साथ?
बीवी बच्चे भी थे सर। एक दिन आए थे, वो उसी दिन से आए नहीं।
क्या हुआ था उस दिन? आपसे कुछ चर्चा हुई? पुलिस ने कुछ पूछा?
हमसे पूछा तो मैंने बोला सर मेरे को मालूम नहीं है। 11 बजे दिन में 4 गाड़ी आई थी।
अच्छा।
हाँ, तो 12:30 बजे गए।
कब हुआ था ये पूरा सब कुछ?
18 तारीख।
नहीं, बस बेसिक चीज है कि कब से यहाँ पर रह रहे हैं और कभी आपसे बातचीत हुई?
काफी साल हो गए।
4 साल
पहले हाँ
इस रूम में रहते
थे, वहाँ से उन्होंने वहाँ शिफ्ट किया।
अच्छा, बस उतने बड़ी बेसिक चीजें छोटी छोटी।
Let's take it across to our reporters now joining us. So we have Nilesh, who reported on this story from Mumbai. We also have Bhavtosh Singh, who's joining us at the moment. Nilesh, this is very significant. Take us through. You've also accessed the order copy. What exactly does the remand copy of this particular case? What have the police said in the remand papers in terms of the charges that Hussaini is facing?
Well, yes, Madhav, we are talking of the accused number one in the set case, who happens to be a man with many names and multiple personalities. Some know him as Alexander, some know him as with a different name, some know him with Ali Hussaini as well. Now, the remand copy that the Times Network have exclusively access reveals that how he, along with his brother, that is Adil, who has been arrested by Delhi Special Cell, along with a cyber cafe owner, has been working in connivance to produce forged documents. Now, not only producing these documents, but also based on these documents, that is the Aadhaar card, the PAN card, the 3 passports that the police officials have seized. This particular individual was to made it possible to travel to foreign countries as well in order to sell the sensitive data that he allegedly has of the Baba Atomic Research Center. Now, all of these documentation is currently being looked after by the Mumbai Police Crime Branch and the Delhi Police Special Cell. Both agencies are working in coordination. Now, what is a dire situation is that this individual was able to forge documents for so long, and for 20 years, nearly 20 years, not just the NIA but also the IB was behind this individual who was residing into Gulf countries and
very
was
important
operating.
Point. Bhavtosh Singh, if this is an individual who has been accused of committing crimes in the past, has been charged as well, what really are we looking at in terms of the role of the agency? Surely they would have been keeping an eye on him, and how has he been able to get away with this level of activity if he was already on the radar?
Well, Madhav, as colleague Nilesh said, that he has been under scanner. He has been under scanner since June 2004 when he was deported from Dubai. When he tried selling nuclear secrets to someone in Dubai, he claimed that he was in fact sent back only because of business rivalry. Then he was questioned for 5 continuous days at Mumbai's airport and then subsequently arrested by Mumbai police on cheating and forgery charges. He remained behind bars and then subsequently was released on bail. He jumped the parole and then was again arrested in 2011 on fake passport charges by UP police, and then again in 2015 he was arrested by Mumbai police and subsequently released, and in 2019 he was arrested by Mumbai police with forged passport, and it's only now that he has arrested by Mumbai police, which has virtually opened a Pandora's box. So at least in 20 years he has been arrested 4 times by various state police. Once he was deported and then questioned by central intelligence agencies. As Nilesh was saying, that sensitive documents have been recovered, but fact remains that both the brothers have been arrested on cheating and forgery charges. So far, the OSA Act has not been invoked. Sources have said that they are still going through the documents that they have recovered and will in fact get in touch with the government to know whether these documents are classified as secret or not. But clearly there is something amiss as far as
investigators certainly believe there's reason to hold this man, which is why he has been arrested, and of course 2 other arrests have also happened, including his brother. But Nilesh and Bhavtosh, thanks so much for joining us. Let's quickly go through those cases that Bhavtosh was referring to, because this individual, Akhtar Hussaini, has been on the radar of agencies for long. The first time that he had a brush with law was in June 12, 2004, where he was deported from Dubai. The charge then was trying to sell India's nuclear secrets. On June 18, 2004, nothing substantial came out in the probe, and Akhtar was charged with forgery and cheating. In 2011, he was arrested by UP police. In 2015, he was released on bail. That's, of course, as far as 2015 is concerned. Let's quickly bring that slide up. Later, in 2019, Mumbai police arrested Akhtar again. The charge then was selling fake passports. On October 18th in 2025, Akhtar was arrested by Mumbai cops. This time the charge was possession of 2 fake IDs of BARC. Let's quickly take this across. All right, we have more breaking news coming in. And this is, of course, the 2 accused, Akhtar Hussaini and Munazir Khan, who have been produced before the court today. Both have been remanded to police custody till November 1st. And during the hearing, the police has informed the court that they have found several other passport pictures inside the cell phones of the accused. Officials also presented call detailed records of the accused before the court. Officials have informed the court that they are coordinating with Delhi Police Special Cell to understand the role of Akhtar's brother Adil Hussaini. Let's quickly take this across to our guest joining us. We have Roshan Khanijo, Senior Fellow of ORF, joining us. Lieutenant General KJS Dhillon is also with us. He is, of course, the former GOC of 15 Corps. Dr. Roshan Khanijo, Strategic Analyst, is also with us. So, Roshan, I'm going to come to you first. A rather interesting case, but a question that I find quite puzzling is that if this is a person who's been arrested at least 4 times in the past 20 years, How has he been able to get away with so much of activity, which clearly points at espionage?
So, Madhav, I think first thing is that what we are getting to know is only probably tip of the iceberg. Because whatever snatches of information have come out so far in the public domain seem to suggest that there are a lot more layers to this particular case than a simple act of some guy impersonating, forging, trying to collect some documents, and then trying to smuggle. Now, we don't know what was the kind of sensitivity of the documents that he was in possession of, whether there was anything really classified or it wasn't, number one. Number two, we don't know, because this guy apparently is involved in some kind of transnational ring. Was there other agencies involved or not? Now, according to your report, it is said that the cops raided his house on the 18th. When was he actually arrested? And if he was arrested, say 10 days back, then has he been put through the mill, and has the security agencies got a lot more information than what they already had? And then finally is the question which you asked, that here is a guy who has now a track record, an established track record of breaking the law. Do our police forces in various states interact with each other, cooperate with each other? Is there some kind of information sharing that you can find out if somebody has been arrested? He had been earlier arrested in some other state or not. And if we don't have a system like that, then I think it's a matter of very serious concern, because you can be committing acts in different geographies in the country and getting away with it, as it seems to be doing. So I think there are a lot of questions I have right now, not so many answers really.
Absolutely. And in fact, let me bring in Lieutenant General KJS Dhillon. We know the Mumbai police is involved. We know that the Delhi police is involved. We know that, there's some arrests that have taken place in another state, Jharkhand. So multiple jurisdictions. The point that Sushant was raising is very clear, Lieutenant General Dhillon. But we've seen in the past how ISI has tried to, pilfer information from India. We saw that, how they've tried to sort of honey trap various members of our armed forces. They have used influencers on social media as well to try and glean information here from India. But in this manner, to try and take nuclear secrets, how often have we heard of these kind of attempts on part of the ISI? Lieutenant General.
Good evening, Madhav, and good evening to the fellow panelists and viewers. First of all, as Mr. Serene was saying, act of treason or this sort of thing committed on various states. The states police, they interact with each other when there is a multiple places where the same person is committed an offense after he is apprehended. I'm not very sure what Mr. Serene was referring to, whether there is a data bank which can be accessed by anyone and which can be updated every time the man is caught of this. Now here there is a very important aspect of national secrets, that to the nuclear secrets being given to a foreign country. Every time the man has been caught, 2004 is important because that time he was actually caught for selling nuclear secrets. And those were the days when there was no WhatsApp, there was no social media, there was no easy transfer of data online.
Right.
Only probably medium was email, and that too very limited data file can be transferred. And that time the physical transfer of documents was the norm. Now, if every time he has been apprehended and every time either the police has made the case so weak that he was not charged or he was not convicted, or the judiciary somewhere, didn't take a serious note of it. All these are the instances which we must go back into. We have a very poor memory of cases. We should go back to 2004 and find out who investigated this case. Even if the police officer has retired now, a case must be lodged against him also. So that in the future, every time a police officer is investigating a case of national security, he is very clear that it is not business as usual. By whatever influences, whatever reasons, he cannot go soft pedaling on national security issues. And secondly, our case, our judiciary, our laws, national security should be treated or should be, the punishment has to be capital punishment, nothing less than that. Any person who does a national security breach, it is much more than committing a single murder. It is amounting to committing multiple murders of Indian nationals in due course of time. So such acts must be looked at and treated very, very firmly, and all the police officers in the past who have investigated must be again investigated as to what was their intention. Did they do a shoddy job? intentionally, or was there a genuine lack of evidence? Such cases cannot be just rubbed under the carpet, and your channel, a good thing you are bringing out all the history. I only hope the police, the investigation agencies also go into this history and plug the loopholes, the number of passports, the number of Aadhaar cards.
Absolutely.
Someone has made them.
Absolutely. And I want to bring in these various ID cards.
Has to be identified and punished.
Absolutely. You know, the sheer volume, and I want to bring in Dr. Roshan Khanijo. Dr. Roshan Khanijo, of course, what we understand is that there were some blueprints relating to nuclear facilities, reactors, etc., that have been recovered. Now, what the importance of that is, whether these are publicly available, not available, how secret they are, perhaps only the investigation will bring to light. But what I find absolutely amazing is that, not just a huge volume of ID cards, fake ID cards that have been brought out, but also one of them is named Alexander Palmer. So here's a person pretending to be, of perhaps, I don't even know if there are different nationalities and different countries' passports that have been found or not, but completely trying to change his identity, camouflage it. What really does this show you?
Thank you, Madhav, for calling me to your channel. Nuclear espionage is not a new thing. It has been happening for so many years. And if you remember, in Pakistan, there was Dr. A.Q. Khan espionage thing, which was there. And what basically they try to do, why they want it, because we know that enriched uranium is very important, because the uranium which comes in the natural form cannot be used as the bomb. So you need to enrich it. And in order to enrich it, you need the blueprint. And you need the blueprint of the centrifuge and the other components. So this is a network which goes on, and many countries are involved in it. So it's not a one person who's doing it. There are many countries which are involved in it, and it depends what kind of an espionage. As the investigation goes forward, you'll come to know what kind of an espionage is it. Was it for enrichment processes? Then the blueprint will be for the centrifuge, or it was for weapons design, whether it was for delivery and deployment agencies, or it was for warhead miniaturization. What it was, what they are looking for. If we come to know the detail of these, then you can put all the jigsaw puzzles together and can find out what is the basic nature behind it. Because espionage has been happening and it will continue to happen. That is why it is very important for us. And I'm sure all our agencies must be working 24/7 to make it foolproof. But it's a very daunting charge. And I'm very happy that it has come to light and people are working on it, and it will make our security much more stronger now.
Let me
so first thing is you have to know what kind of espionage, what were they looking for.
Right. I'm sure that's something I'm sure the investigators will come up with. But, Sushant Sareen, I think Lieutenant General Dhillon has a very important point when he says that somewhere or the other, we've been a little lax when it comes to national security episodes. We forget the dots that need to be joined together. We forget the context. And here's an individual who's not functioning alone. There's his brother who's also been charged, another individual also who's been helping them. And, clearly the fact is that at a time when we've seen conflicts such as Operation Sindoor, perhaps the need to strengthen our own internal procedures and make sure that such crimes do not go unpunished.
Yeah, Madhav, I think General Dhillon has been being rather charitable when he says we have been a little lax. I would say we've been majorly lax on many of these issues. Look, I, for the life of me, cannot imagine how somebody can get his hands on top secret centrifuge or whatever blueprints, nuclear-related blueprints, right? Just the thought of going to BARC is a very daunting task. How is somebody getting these documents? So clearly, now we don't know whether he was, Dr. Khanijo talks about A.Q. Khan, but the A.Q. Khan network was entirely state-sponsored. The Pakistan Army and the entire Pakistani deep state was deeply involved in that particular project of smuggling nuclear equipment and smuggling in missiles and other stuff. In this case, this seems to be either some kind of a criminal network, some kind of a jihadist network. We don't know. Was he in touch with some state actors for whom he was doing all this? Or was he doing it for some private players, who are also involved in this kind of activity? We don't even know that. We don't know when General Dhillon says that, yes, police forces cooperate with each other. But for example, if I was to be arrested tomorrow in Delhi, but I had also a case in Chennai, and nobody knows me and somebody arrests me and I clam up about my case in Chennai, how does somebody connect me to that case in Chennai? Unless there is a database from which, through biometrics and other sources, you can figure out that yes, the same guy has been also arrested in other cases. In this particular case, it is possible. I don't know. Like I said, we don't know all the details. But is it the case that this time finally he shut up on all the cases in which this guy's been involved? Now, according to your report, he has been on the radar screen. But for how long? Since June? But what happens before June? And are we now closing the stable door after the horse has bolted? Or I don't know. So I think it's a very troublesome case. And I think it's important that we get to the bottom of it. And it's not brushed under the carpet like many things in India are, lest it cause embarrassment to people.
Absolutely. Lieutenant Dhillon, I think the important point that Sushant has made is that are we, trying to bolt the stable doors after the horses have bolted? And the reason I'm saying this is that the remand papers very clearly say that Adil Hussaini has also made passports in the names of Mohammad Adil Hussaini, Nasimuddin Saeed Adil Hussain, traveled to different countries. The big question, though, is that whether this travel was purely for espionage purposes, because we don't know the background of this individual, who gave him the resources, for instance, to travel, and what the motivation of the travel was.
Madhav, precisely for the reason which Mr. Sushant Singh just gave an example of Chennai and Delhi, the NIA came into being. The National Investigating Agency came into being to investigate the cases of national security and of national importance. And the data bank connection today is not a big issue. I'm very sure either it is in place or just by simple biometrics. We all have Aadhaar cards. By simple biometrics, it can be connected, and at the press of a button, the cases can be retrieved in case the data bank of every state is talking to each other. It's not that they are in some different languages and different programs and different vendors have, made it for them. Then there is a problem. Now, such like cases should not be left to the state police. These are cases of national relevance, national security, and national importance. And they should be straightway transferred to National Investigating Agency before the state police file the case. And here the hackers going up and under scanner since June is very important because Operation Sindoor happened in May. Was it a fallout of something which came to the light of the knowledge of the agencies during Operation Sindoor or immediately after that? And that is when this individual came under scanner. All these are the things to be seen by the investigating agencies. But it is very important that we do not handle these cases in piecemeal manner. These cases must be handled at NIA at the national level and the central agencies.
Okay.
Who understand the issues, and there is a less chance of going soft pedaling on this.
All right. Sushant wanted to respond to you. Was raising his hand earlier. Sushant, quick response, please.
Very quickly, just 2 points. See, one is that, when we go in for getting our passports made, for example, they take iris scans, they take fingerprints, they take all the biometrics, right? How is it that people like him are able to get passports made in different names or different addresses? He can't be changing his biometrics, can he? Unless there is some passport office where there are people complicit. I don't see how this is possible. And should the mechanisms in the passport office not throw up an alarm bell when you have biometrics? Should they not be passed through some kind of a database to see somebody is not forging it? Secondly, look, I take the point General Dhillon is making, but the problem is very often, supposing somebody is arrested on a charge of forgery or having some spurious documents, right? Well, what is a normal, ordinary cop in a place going to do? He'll say, it's a forgery case, it's not a terrorism case. He doesn't even understand whether this case has implications beyond just, somebody doing something hanky-panky. So the problem becomes, how do you come to know whether a case is of a magnitude which, as General Dhillon very correctly says, involves national security? You don't until you start, piecing together the whole thing, and which they seem to have done in this particular instance and picked up these guys. But I think this is a serious problem, and until and unless you have that network system which General Dhillon is talking about, how do you get to know some small?
Well, we have. To be fair to the police, there have been a lot of formation of various anti-terror squads as well as STF special cell, etc., Delhi police, which looks into this. But I want to very quickly bring in Dr. Roshan before we wrap up this show. Dr. Roshan, what needs to be done? Obviously, a high security facilities such as nuclear facilities need to have robust security systems in place. But the very fact that there are individuals who at least claim to have accessed some amount of documentation, we don't know the veracity of that claim. But certainly, of course, the attempts, the huge amount of forged documents shows that these were people who are being plowed with a fair amount of resources to do just that. What needs to be further done to prevent this, particularly at a time when we are engaged with Pakistan and we've been engaged since Operation Sindoor?
I think one thing is quite clear, there has been some kind of a breach because the kind of information which he has got and what Sushant also rightly pointed out, it is not easily available. So if you are getting this kind of an information, what you just flashed, there has to be some kind of inside this thing. I'm not sure because the investigations are still going on. So I'm sure they will analyze it and the security will be tightened up because all these things, the first thing they do is they try to tighten up the security. But the breach, what it has happened, they will analyze, I'm sure, and it should not happen. And that is why I was telling, if you know what kind of espionage it was done, then you will know the faces behind it.
Right.
Because simply a terrorist taking it, it's not going to help them. Because making a nuclear bomb is a big thing. And it has to have all kinds of paraphernalia which is required. So that will give an inclination of it is an individual group which is working, or it is a country, or what kind of help that person
Well, ISI's name, of course, has been spoken about by the investigators. Is it actually the case? What has happened in this matter? We'll have to wait for the investigation to throw up more details. Dr. Roshan Khanijo, Sushant Sareen, as well as Lieutenant General KJS Dhillon. I'd like to thank all three of you for joining us this evening.